With ShipEngine's Postman Collections, users can explore the various functionalities and applications of our powerful shipping APIs. Postman is a unique, free, cross-platform application that allows you to simulate and visualize API requests. Whether you're new to ShipEngine or just looking to explore the ways our APIs can help transform the way you do business, we encourage developers and non-developers to use this tool as a way to better understand and navigate our API. To get started, you'll need to navigate to our documentation homepage and select the Postman Collections link within the Developer Tools. If you're new to Postman, follow the link to download the application to your computer. Click the button to download Postman for your operating system. After the file has downloaded successfully, you will follow the prompts on your screen to install. If you're already logged into ShipEngine, then your API keys will automatically populate in Postman for you. Once Postman has been successfully installed on your machine, you will navigate back to the documentation page to access and download both collections. We have created two different collections to choose from: Walkthrough and Reference. Our Walkthrough collection will guide you step by step through the most popular ShipEngine features and allow you to easily follow along as you experiment with API requests. If you're more interested in exploring ShipEngine's features one by one, or an exhaustive list of the calls you can make to our API, we've created a Reference collection. Similarly, this collection also has its own documentation, as well as a separate Run in Postman link that will download this specific collection. In this demonstration, we're going to guide you through how to use our Walkthrough collection. As noted in the docs, it's important to run the Walkthrough collection in order, since it uses Postman variables to connect each step to the next one. If you run the requests out of order, then you may encounter errors. To get started, click Run in Postman. Since you now have Postman installed, this Run in Postman button will automatically launch the application and download the collection. It might take a few seconds to download, so don't worry if you don't immediately see the ShipEngine collection show up in the Collections tab. Be sure to select the ShipEngine environment in Postman. This environment includes the API key for your ShipEngine sandbox. Now that your API key has been confirmed within Postman, let's guide you step by step through our Walkthrough collection, starting with our carrier integrations. On the left side of Postman, you will see a folder labeled ShipEngine Walkthrough. When you click on that folder, it will show a list of subfolders that contain the main API requests our users tend to implement in their integration. First, carrier integrations. This establishes what carriers are available, the capabilities they support, such as shipping packages with dry ice, and the services they offer. We'll also walk through shipping costs, also known as our real-time rate shopping. Shipping labels, which will demonstrate how to create and print various labels, whether from scratch or based on a previous request. Then, address validation, showing you how to create requests that will verify addresses around the world and save on address correction surcharges. And address parsing. This refers to our address recognition API. With this request, you can simply send us the unstructured text and we'll return whatever address data it contains, using machine learning and natural language processing technology. Then lastly, tracking. This sample API request allows you to track in real time the status of any package, including shipments not generated in ShipEngine. To get started making requests, click on the List Your Carriers request. Each of our requests includes a short description describing what it does. You can see the description by clicking the arrow next to the request name. In this first call, we'll be getting a list of all the carrier accounts that you have connected in ShipEngine. Click the Send button, and in a matter of seconds, you'll see that Postman returns a JSON response. You can see that we have a Stamps.com account connection, as well as a FedEx and UPS account. The response includes detailed information about each of these accounts. One of our favorite features of our new Postman collections is the ability to visualize this JSON data to make it easier to understand. You can see which carriers are connected within your account and which ones provide the most options for any given package. The next request gets the data for a specific carrier using its ID. The stamps variable is the URL that has the ID of your stamps.com account. So, clicking Send will return the data for your stamps.com account. And then you can easily view this data using the Visualize tab. Changing the variable to FedEx will return your FedEx account. And replacing it with UPS will return your UPS account details. You can use this same trick throughout this collection to experiment with different carriers. Like we mentioned at the beginning, some carriers support different capabilities when it comes to shipments, such as shipping with dry ice or alcohol. List a carrier's options will outline and visualize whether a particular carrier can meet your needs. Each carrier supports many different services, such as ground, air, 3-day, and overnight. In ShipEngine, each of these services has a service code, which you'll need to specify when shipping a package. This request shows you how to list all the available services and their service codes for a given carrier. In this case, FedEx. Packaging is also an important step in determining how you can best ship a package and save on shipping costs. This request will demonstrate how to list packaging options within the code, as well as a detailed description. For instance, this option lets us know the dimensions of a medium flat rate box for USPS, and the correct way to list the package code on the back end. You can also check your balance for a particular carrier by making a call to the list carrier's endpoint. In order to add funds, you'll need to contact our support team to enable this endpoint. For the purpose of this walkthrough, this request will only check the balance of your Stamps.com carrier account. Now that we've determined the carrier information, the next step is to explore how our API supports real-time rate shopping across carriers. The accuracy of rate estimates are determined on the information you provide in your API request, like whether you have the full delivery address. We will demonstrate how to pull estimates for shipments with both minimal and detailed address information. First, let's see what rates all three of our carriers can offer for a 17-pound package going from Austin, Texas to Burbank, California. As you can see, we have the most options to ship with USPS through the Stamps.com carrier account. The cheapest option, without knowing the full delivery address, is for $6.48 via USPS Priority Mail. We can get more accurate rate estimates by providing more detailed information. This request shows you an exhaustive list of fields you can supply for a detailed rate estimate request. Up until this point, we've been getting rate estimates. In order to get actual rate quotes, you'll need to specify detailed shipment information, as well as the specific carriers and services that you're interested in. Based on this request, we're only interested in 3 specific services, and we filled in the complete address and package information. Based on the data, the USPS Priority Mail option is the quickest and cheapest delivery option for this package. Another way to get rates in ShipEngine is to first create a shipment. You'll specify all the same information as before, optionally including your preferred shipping service. Here's the ID for this shipment. You can use this ID to get rate quotes, create tables, track packages, and more. Now that we've created a shipment, let's get some rate quotes for it. As you can see in this code sample, we're using the shipment ID that we just created, and once again, we're requesting rates for all 3 carriers and 3 specific services. To recap, at this point we know how to set up our carrier integrations, how to confirm carrier and package options, and how to compare rates based on information about our shipment. Now it's time to create our shipping label. If you know all the information you need to generate your label, create a label from scratch will show you how to create a label in a single request. From the code sample, you can see that all the information we need to ship a package is there, from the service code to the weight of the package. Once we send our request, we will receive back various file formats of the shipping label, a PDF, a PNG, and a ZPL, which is the file format used for thermal zebra printers. If we go to visualize this data, we will see not only a digest of information regarding this shipment, but also an image of the sample label. If you've previously requested a rate quote from ShipEngine, then you can create a label from that rate quote without having to specify any of the shipment details again. Similarly, you can also generate a label based on a previous shipment ID. In order to create a return label, whether independently after a shipment has been received by a customer, or to include with the original shipment, you will follow the same steps as you would to create an outgoing label. The only difference is that you'll need to include an additional isReturnLabel flag. You're also able to include an optional RMA number, Return Merchandise Authorization. This request successfully generated a return label. From the JSON, you can access various file formats of the label, in addition to being able to access it from the Visualize tab. When we open up the PNG label, you can see that it successfully placed the recipient's address as the return address. And if you scroll down, you can see the RMA number listed at the very bottom of the label. By default, whenever you create a label in ShipEngine, we'll give you several URLs to download the label in various file formats. You saw these in the previous request. However, this requires a second HTTP request to download a label. You can perform both steps in a single request by specifying the label download type as inline and specifying your desired label format and label layout. The label file will be returned in the response as an inline data URI. The Visualize view here is using the inline data URI to display the label image. In order to add carrier-approved messages to your shipping label, whether you need to add reference numbers, internal tracking numbers, or just want to thank a customer for their order, this next step will show you how to add separate label messages to each package in a shipment. First, navigate to the body of your request and customize the 3 lines A, B, and C. For the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to add a thank you message to our recipient. It's important to keep your character limits in mind. Some carriers limit you to as few as 30 characters. Once you've finished writing your message, you will send the request and can see a final version of your label in the Visualize tab. Voiding labels is also an important component to any successful integration with ShipEngine. Since some carriers bill for postage the moment a label is created, this walkthrough shows you how to get a refund for any label you create that you don't end up using. This isn't technically necessary in the ShipEngine sandbox since you aren't actually charged for test labels. After submitting this request, you can see from the JSON response that the label has been successfully voided. Now, let's list all the labels we've created. There are many parameters you can set to customize here, but let's just request the last 10 labels. And here they are, including the one we just voided. ShipEngine also supports address validation for nearly every country, including the United States, Canada, Great Britain, Australia, and over 160 others. This section guides you through how to validate addresses with our API, including its ability to validate and fill in an incomplete address or automatically correct one. The Postman collection will also show you how ShipEngine will respond when an address cannot be verified, is invalid, or has warnings, such as major corrections. We encourage you to walk through each of these steps to better understand how ShipEngine address validations work. The 2 code samples most of our users integrate into their system are validation upon creating a shipment and validation upon submitting a rate request. Here, we've specified that we want the address to be validated and automatically corrected if necessary. As you can see, the incomplete address was corrected. Address and shipping parsing is another unique feature that ShipEngine offers using machine learning and natural language processing technology. These requests will demonstrate how to pass unstructured text to ShipEngine and get back structured data that you can use. The parsed address matches the same structure that's used throughout the ShipEngine API, so it's ready to use. In addition, you can see that there's an entities array, which details every significant word or phrase that was found in the text. This Visualize view makes it easier to see. You can see each entity that was recognized, the parse value, and the confidence score. The final piece of this walkthrough demonstrates how to track a package. You can track any package in ShipEngine, even one that was shipped outside of ShipEngine. Let's try this UPS package from one of my recent online purchases. As we see that it was delivered on November 14th, we can also see each time it was scanned along the way. While you don't have to generate the shipment in ShipEngine in order to track a package, if you did, you can easily get tracking information using the label ID. Obviously, since we just created this label a few minutes ago, it's not in the system yet. To subscribe to real-time tracking updates from ShipEngine, you'll need a web server at a publicly accessible URL. You can then set up a webhook in ShipEngine pointing to that URL. This is a one-time setup that can be performed via the API or manually in the ShipEngine dashboard. This code sample shows you how to do it via the API. Once you've set up the tracking webhook, you'll automatically start receiving real-time tracking updates for any package you ship with ShipEngine. You can also subscribe to tracking updates for packages that were shipped outside of ShipEngine, as well as unsubscribe from updates for any package. That concludes the demo of our Postman walkthrough collection. We're confident that this tool will help you explore and better understand how to integrate with our full-featured shipping API and get shipping solved for your business. If you have questions about how to get started with a free API key or about our Postman collection, we encourage you to head to our website to contact our sales or support team.